Hi guys, Tungsten here. It had been a while since I last put out a video. I took a break from modding Nerf blasters for a while. So I have this blaster for quite some time now and didn't have the motivation to kind of open it and test it out. Until recently, I actually received one of the so-called upgrade parts that is from Saber. This is the part for the plunger. Yeah, so that gives me the motivation to finally open up this gun this blaster that I received long time ago. So let's take a look. I will show also how to kind of install the parts, as well as the some of the upgrade parts that is supposed to come with the blaster. So once we open up the box, the blaster is come in two main pieces over here, the front and the back kind of front receiver and the back receiver, I guess. So there's an instruction. I think it's a good touch that they actually include so-called the legend for the sizes of the screws that they use, because there are quite a number, and they actually gave me a free upgrade spring as well as a upgrade barrel, which I will show how to install them. Now I also purchased some extra parts like the ball bearing kind of for the priming to improve it. So again, I will show how the step-by-step installation, because I do have a viewer that told me that they would prefer a much detailed kind of installation process. So I'm going to show how you install that, because there is some parts that needs to be replaced. As you can see over here, these are ball bearings, else the default one is not, so we have to remove and install 8 of them if I'm not wrong. So I'll show a little bit on that, as well as I'll provide the FPS test as well. Now yeah, so that is more or less so-called the package. I forgot to mention that there are other accessories as well. For example, they do come with this side prime. Now they have 2 primes. This is the side prime, and then there is a so-called a normal priming handle itself. Now what I like to do is I will remove the side prime piece and then actually remove one of the screw from this so-called the priming priming handle, and you can actually fit it into it. As you can see from the intro, actually the side prime and the so-called this priming handle is together. How I do it is just remove one of the screws and then just use the side prime as a securing screw, and you have the best of both worlds. So they do give you additional O-ring as well as this scar. I do use my own bearing scar, so yeah, so that's what I have in mind for my blaster itself. Yep, so I guess these are good addition that we can have. Now let's take a look at the so-called the front portion of the blaster itself. Wow, they actually package it taped all over. So yeah. So what is in this? I can't remember. So let's just take a look together. I believe these are the rails. Yeah, so these are the rails, right? So these rails are actually pretty well made, I must say. Pretty premium feel. And okay, let's take a look at what's inside. Okay, the front portion seems fully assembled. There's a return spring as well as a skinny pusher. That means you can load your magazine without priming the blaster. Some people like it, some doesn't. So in my opinion, I actually quite like that feature, and I also like the returning spring for the priming as well. Yeah, right. So the rest is the rail. The top rail itself looks fantastic. Yeah, okay, pretty much right. Okay, so yep, let's get on into installing the parts. Alright, for this piece itself, like I mentioned, we have to remove all this plastic kind of bearing and replace it with the ball bearing. So I actually did the installation for 7 of them, so I'm going to use one of them as a demonstration. Now there is a pin that you need to remove, so what I did is I just use a kind of like a drill and then just push it through. Okay, it's not that difficult. Okay, once you do that, just remove the so-called plastic bearing itself, and place in the ball bearing. Okay, be patient and be careful. If you drop it, okay, it might not be that easy to locate it. So yeah, take your time, position it, use the pincer and to align the ball bearing itself, and then just push in the so-called the securing pin. Now I need to look for which one. Yes, this is the correct one, so I'll just push it in and just use a pincer or any rod that you can find that fits to finally adjust the position, and there you have it. Now you need to repeat this for the rest of the 7 kind of bearing which I already did, and this will fit nicely to your barrel, slide nicely, and this will greatly improve, in my opinion, the experience of priming. Now let's install it back, or should I say let's dismantle the front portion, remove the screws. They are of various lengths, so please be careful. Okay, remove the spring. You can always refer to the so-called documentation on the which screw for which length of screw is for which position. Remove the duct gate, and there is a few screws, I believe 4, for you to remove, such that you can replace the old piece that is resided inside this parts over here. So we go ahead and remove. There you go. Okay, now we can there's one white piece that dropped off. I'm not too sure why is that, so I think it's for the side. Very strange. I'll suppose glue it back. Now this piece is the old piece, just remove it, put in the new ball bearing piece over here. Okay, let me just, okay, yeah, okay, so just slide it in. I believe there's some groove, I cannot remember. Yeah, and then just test it out a little bit, and then now we can kind of put back the pieces. Once you put it back, it will be firmly secure within, so that is fine. So this white piece is probably I'll just super glue it back there. Okay, yep. So okay, let's put the screw back. Alright, so now let's just assemble everything back to its original kind of state. I'm going to upgrade the barrel. So over here you can see the one that came with the blaster is the shorter one. The one that is given to me for free because of the early pre-order, I believe it is like a 36 centimeter for the barrel length, and yeah, so I'll upgrade that. I think that will be quite a nice upgrade. Okay, put the target, the spring between the barrel and the ball bearing piece. Okay, the barrel is threaded, so you just kind of screw it, kind of tighten it, okay, to your best ability. I don't really need to tighten it all so-called very firmly, just reasonably firm. Later on you can further tighten it. So now we're gonna put back to the blaster itself, the front. Alright, so just place it in, okay, nicely. Now, okay, alright, so the next step is to get this white piece over here and kind of position it. Okay, slide it in, put it in position. Okay, I actually like this inclusion of this kind of impact absorbing piece over here. Take a look at the final assembly. Okay, so it actually, it's a good feeling that you don't kind of, when you kind of prime, at least you know there's impact piece to absorb your force moving forward. So now you just put back all the screws and the front portion is done. Alright, let's take a look at the back. Okay, again I remove all the screws and kind of open it up. So there are a few springs to be careful of. This catch spring, the trigger spring, and the magazine release spring as well. So just be mindful when you open it up, just open it up slowly. There's also a safety catch that is not shown later on. I'll show it. Now this is the so-called the plunger rod. Remember to remove the silicone part from the original. We need to use that for the upgrade. And this is the comparison of the Saber upgrade parts with the original part. I'll say the catch itself, the place whereby the catch interacts with it is a great improvement. It's not so rounded. No, yeah. Over here it's slightly longer as well. Maybe let's take a look at the weight itself. What is the weight difference between these two parts? Right, so the first Saber part is 44, I believe it's gram. The original part is 25. So original part of course is going to be lighter. So hopefully the heavier part doesn't decrease the improvement. Right, but I would say it should be a good trade-off. I don't think the performance is going to be affected that drastically, but I do feel that this part is a great improvement. I know Saber also came out with replacement for the Mac release, if I'm not wrong, and catch itself. So maybe check out their website. Yeah. So put back the silicone impact absorbing part from the original, transfer it, as well as the O-ring itself, and well, we're good to go and to assemble back everything. Right. Okay. So again, before assembling, let me just mention this is the so-called safety catch. Remember to put that back in, and we can start to put the so-called springs. Be careful again. Okay, these are small pieces. If you jump off the bench, you might have a tough time. So take a look at the finish position, right? And now we can just close it, and it's actually pretty easy to close over here, as you can see. And we just screw everything back, and we are done. Right, now it's just putting the front and the back together. I put back all the screws. First, put in the upgrade spring. Alright, very easy to do. Now I must say, this blaster is not one of those whereby you want to swap out spring easily and whatnot. You probably do a setup, and that's it. That is going to be your setup, right? Put back in slot. Okay, it's pretty easy to go in, and once it's in, just use one of the screws to kind of secure the two pieces together, and then you can put back the rest of the screws. Right, so after putting back all the screws, you can now kind of position the top rail. So as you can see, once you fit the top rail, the front and the back portion there's no easy way for you to kind of remove it. Yep, so this is not a blaster whereby you want to keep swapping out the spring. Let's take a look at the FPS. Okay, so in conclusion, I quite like this Worker Harrier. It comes pretty much out of the box, ready to be used. With a few upgrade parts, you can really improve the usability as well as the performance of this blaster. Right. As you can see over here, I did integrate the front priming with the side priming. As I mentioned, removing one of the screws, just use the so-called side prime as the screw. I don't really like the finger guard, I'll say. It kind of obstruct the magazine release. It's a bit awkward, but I'm sure there are a lot of upgrades parts whereby you can just remove and replace it. Okay, that's one gripe. The stock is fine. I did saw some redesigned stock from AK Mod Works. Maybe in the next video I can run through the listing, but it looks interesting. So yeah, so this is the Worker Harrier. I hope you like this review and thank you for watching.